Hey, what's going on, everybody? Don Martino here from Extract Media. Today, we're going to talk about The Mandalorian Season 3 episodes number 5 and number 6. That is going to be chapters 21 and 22. And before I get started here today, guys, please note that I will not refrain from spoilers. If you haven't seen the episodes and you don't want to know anything, please tune out now. All right, so episode 5, The Pirate, chapter 21, The Pirate, is directed by Peter Ramsey, and Peter Ramsey did a very good job with this episode. I gotta be honest with you, I thought it was a really entertaining watch. Kind of wraps up the whole pirate storyline that had opened up in the first episode of the season, so I was happy to see that get carried forward. And people have been calling this one filler. I don't think it is. To me, it definitely carries forward that pirate storyline that we had. It's closing that out, so I did enjoy that. The one thing I thought that Peter Ramsey was lacking in this episode is the actual action itself. Like, there was some of it that looked really cool and felt very Star Wars, but then there was a lot of it that felt pretty mindless. It was just like a lot of shooting and things, and that stuff just to me wasn't very great. I do think that Pedro Pascal stood out, especially in this episode though, as Din Djarin. I thought that he did some pretty good work, especially when he was giving his old monologue there. That was pretty good, and I had fun with like the space battle aspect of it, I suppose, with them fighting in the ships. I enjoyed all that aspect of it. It was just the ground battle that I thought could have been a lot more creative here, but then it goes places, right? It goes into this thing about, you know, pretty much Bo-Katan now being able to walk both paths, and the armorer wants her to go out and get other Mandalorian, gather them together. And if I was Din Djarin right now, personally, I'd be like, are you really serious right now? Like, this is what's happening here? You were just gonna let her walk scot-free without the helmet on? Did you know what I just had to go through just to get the helmet? Rights back in my life. I mean, come on. They had the whole plot line here, and I would have been a lot more upset. But whatever, the armorer is kind of the cult leader. You know, you're not going to question the cult leader. I guess that's sort of the idea, but I really thought that this was going to cause a divide between Bo-Katan and Mando at the time. And then at the end, it sets up something phenomenal in my opinion. Gideon pretty much gets taken from the ship, which I thought was pretty awesome. And this New Republic Ranger is pretty suspicious of everything going on with the New Republic. The New Republic stuff explored in the episode was also very good. By the way, Katie O'Brien does return. She's great. I thought Tim Robbins' cameo was pretty random, but I thought he did pretty well. Like, he definitely played the role that he was hired to do. But the New Republic officer pretty much finds this hole in the ship. I thought the stuff was really dark, and somebody had taken Gideon, and it was a Mandalorian. And in my opinion, this was going to be Sabine Wren. I figured that this would set up Ahsoka because Gideon knows where Thrawn and Ezra are, was my assumption, because I feel like Gideon is working for Thrawn, in my opinion. Let's get into episode 6. This is chapter 22, Guns for Hire. And this episode, it stinks. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. And that's not because Sabine wasn't in it, and that was my theory. I think that that would have made sense just for marketing purposes and on the business side of things, but I want to get into why I really did not like this episode. So the beginning is actually pretty okay. Like, I actually enjoyed that. It felt very Star Wars to me in the beginning, and then it just kind of goes off into its own thing. Bo-Katan and Mando are gonna go out and find and gather these other Mandalorian. Well, with that logic, wouldn't you let Din Djarin take his helmet off as well, because he would want to walk both paths? I don't understand the logic of that. Not to mention, I had no sort of inkling that he was going to be going with her to gather these Mandalorians, so that was just random to me. But okay, I can accept that, but the logic of that just doesn't make sense. It feels like plot convenience in a way, but I'll get to that here in a little bit. So they go to this planet where there's this like king and queen, I guess, and it's played by Lizzo and Jack Black, and everything about this just feels like a Saturday Night Live skit. It is terrible, and the writing is terrible. Jack Black is a much more capable actor than to just do this crap. If you wanted him in the season, or if you insisted he'd be in this season of The Mandalorian, you don't do this. I could see them like wanting to have fun with an episode, but this was not fun like Star Wars fun. This didn't feel like Star Wars to me. There are battle droids in this episode, which that stuff was pretty cool. That was nice to see them back. I just wish it was all a part of a better episode. Right, so Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, they do this mission, and then they get access to be able to go to other parts of the planet, I guess, where they're gonna go see Mandalorian. And then she goes off and she finds her old buddies, her old Mandalorian pals, so that was pretty cool. And then, of course, this wraps up the whole Darksaber storyline, and I thought the way they could have done this, like, could have just been a lot more creative. It was just kind of a cop-out to me. Like, hey, okay, remember that thing that happened earlier in the season? Now, that now means that you have the Darksaber when you saved me from the person who had the Darksaber. So now you get it, because you won it by combat. Okay, like, that makes sense, but like I thought the Bo-Katan thing would have been a lot more involved within the season, and now that that's wrapped up, now we really have no driving force in this entire season other than the things that were left over in episode 5, which I'm hoping is the next 2 episodes, because I'm sticking with my theory that Sabine did take Moff Gideon. It obviously wasn't Bo-Katan's buddies, so we have to know now it was Sabine. We know Mandalorian did it, but still, it's just so odd to me that this was the episode we get before Star Wars Celebration, and it's so not good. I just want Star Wars to feel like Star Wars again, and this whole season's just been kind of dragging. I'm just wondering now, even in the good episodes, there's really no big driving force like the prior 2 seasons had, and I just wonder where this is all going at this point, and this just doesn't feel like Star Wars. It's too campy for me. It's not working, guys, and that's even more surprising considering this episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, who has done some of the best Star Wars television out there. And I want to note that the episode is nice to look at. Like, in terms of her cinematography, it's great in that aspect, but other than that, there's really nothing impressive or creative about this episode. The storyline just really stinks, and we need to get something going here, and I'm hoping anyway that 7 and 8 are going to deliver. It feels like they've honestly just ran out of ideas at this point, and that's very disappointing as a fan, and this kind of hurt me today, I'm not gonna lie, because I was so excited for Celebration this week. It's baffling to me, and it's disappointing. We need to get things back on track, and thank you guys for listening to me vent about this really quick, but I was just so disappointed today as a Star Wars fan, and very hurt by this show that I tend to love for the most part. And all right, guys, it's your turn to tell me what you thought of the episode, though. Please hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, and hit the bell for notifications. Once again, I am Don Martino, and I will talk to you guys later.